Hi, this is Patrick Henry from Quest Fusion and the San Diego Lifestyle, here again with Amanda Cascadden from the San Diego Lifestyle with another edition of Baby Boomers versus Millennials. Over the next couple weeks, we're going to be talking about what we call these generational attitudes. And this is actually from an article that we found in Young Money publication, the Young Money publication, Boomers to Millennials, Generational Attitudes. So too much to cover in one episode, but we're going to cover as many of these as we can today and see where we get to. So first, generational attitude, level of trust toward authority. Boomers are confident of self, not of authority. Gen Xers are coming in, have a low level of trust towards authority. Millennials have a high level of trust toward authority, yet they are less trustworthy of individual people. That's interesting. Perhaps it's from being born into an age of terrorism, or maybe it's the overprotective parents or the danger-obsessed media. So what's your kind of belief and level of trust towards authority? And I'll talk a little bit about my beliefs there.
That's interesting. I think personally as a millennial, I definitely have a hard time trusting individual people, like I said. So the level of authority, I would trust big companies, but when it comes down to a personal level, it's really hard to trust certain people. And I think baby boomers have a lot easier time trusting people and just automatically assuming that everybody's going to be wonderful and great. And I never got to watch news growing up. My mom didn't buy the newspaper. We didn't watch the news because she would always say that there's so many terrible things in it. So I definitely think that that's a huge part of it. I think millennials grew up mainly watching all this terrible things on the news, and it just is horrible. It's horrible for your mind to take that in. And as far as trust goes, I don't really know how you can trust anyone after watching some of the things on the news.
So I mean, I'll talk a little bit about myself, and I have a specific thing that I want to talk about as you were talking there. It made me think of something. But as far as my trust of authority, I don't know if it's as much generational, because I do know other people that are Gen Xers and baby boomers, and a lot of the stuff is more personality related in my experience in dealing with people and managing teams and hiring hundreds if not thousands of people, because some people just are more anarchist, more anti-authority, and have problems with authority, and other people are more they're okay with hierarchical organizations and taking direction and both leading and following and things like that. But if I did have to kind of say generically my generation, and I'm kind of at the very end of the baby boomers, I would say, there's respect. There's respect for authority, much more so than, if I look at most of the millennials and even Gen Zers that I know, there's this disenchantment towards authority, towards our government, and things like that. And the one example that I was thinking about is this Colin Kaepernick, not standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. And, some people are like, yeah, Colin Kaepernick, and some people are super ticked off about it. He's
had death threats.
Yeah, so is it non-patriotic to do that, even if you have a belief that our government isn't addressing a huge issue? Or is it, where do you come out on that, this big controversial issue? Or do you want to stay on the sidelines?
No, I think that personally everybody should stand up for the National Anthem, but I just think it's interesting.
I guess it was the National Anthem. Sorry about that, not the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting, though, because I think as a millennial, as soon as something like that happens, you have to decide if you want to be on his side and say, oh, he can think how he wants and it's freedom of speech and you can stand if you want to or not. I think that's kind of a millennial way of thinking, and you're just like, yeah, I want to be on his team too and get attention and, be someone that everybody's talking about. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I think most baby boomers are like, this is what I know, this is what I understand, why isn't he doing this? So I would bet that most of the death threats probably came from baby boomers.
Well, I'm more of the belief that it's kind of like, I don't think people should burn the American flag. I don't think people should disrespect, police officers. I don't think people should disrespect, even if, we end up electing somebody as president that I don't vote for, and this has happened to me many times in my, voting career, I still have respect for whoever the country decides to elect as the president of the United States. That's a person that you need to respect. And I think that it was just incredibly disrespectful. Even if you don't, which nobody does, don't agree with everything that we're doing or, how this country works, I'm still an optimist. I believe this is still the greatest country in the world, and there's, great things that come out of it. And I've traveled the world quite a bit, and I'm always grateful to be back in the United States and appreciate, and I'm very grateful that I get the opportunity to live here. And being what I would call extremely disrespectful like that towards our country, and towards, kind of how we are, I think is wrong. Just me.
And then there's the other side of it, it's like if he has the right to do that, and everybody in America has the right to choose to do what they like and don't like and want to do and don't want to do. So as much as it's the wrong thing to do, I think that he does have the right to do it. You have the right to burn a flag if you want to. Nobody's going to come over and take you to jail if you do it. But yeah, it's very disrespectful. It's very rude, and it's definitely not honoring anyone in the country. So, but as a person in this country, we do have the ability to do basically what we want. We have a lot of freedoms. So I think people that do respect it, they just need to...
On that same note, though, it's like the first thing, if you're not from this country, if you weren't born in this country and you become a citizen, one of the things that you, before you can become a citizen, is pledge your loyalty to the United States. And, that's a privilege. It's a privilege, and it's one of those things where it does upset me. But anyway, so
I think
next big time, unless you have more on this.
No, I think that this is a great topic all on its own, because I just think that the level of trust towards authority is just such an interesting debate, and I feel like I want to know more about what you guys think about this topic in general.
Well, why don't we end it there then? So, are there, what are your guys, not only on Colin Kaepernick, but just what's your belief about, both your individual beliefs as well as kind of generational beliefs around, authority? Are you in alignment with what this publication says? Boomers are confident of self and not of authority. Gen Xers have a low level of trust towards authority. Millennials have a high level of trust towards authority, yet they're less trustworthy of individual people. Interesting perspective. So I'd love to hear from you guys on this one.
Yeah, tell us what you think.